is okay. Today I'm going to discuss the second question of our assignment one. So I'm having a different. I have split the question into smaller sections, and I just wanted to clarify a few things before I just start explaining this question to you guys. The first thing is that I have changed a lot of data into the data sets provided for the assignment brief, as well as I have changed the names of the titles, the column titles as well. So just to make sure that it keeps the anonymity of the actual data provided to you guys. Right. When we perform these actions onto this data set, if you find your answers are different to my answers, so this is absolutely normal because I have got a different data sets and you have got a different one. But the steps you have to follow are going to be exactly the similar ones with minor changes. And if you got any questions at the end of this video, or in the while you're performing some actions onto this data set, please feel free to bring those queries and questions to me in the classroom. Right. So first of all, for this question two for assignment, we are looking into different things. For instance, the first thing is that we have got, you have to open up this file, which is titled as dataset 2025. And once you've got this data set open in front of you, you can see at the bottom that we got orders, we got returns, we got staff, we got shipping costs as well. In terms of the orders, this is the main file we are going to play on. And here we go. We're going to find few different columns and whether they are available in your data set or not. So just before we execute different instructions and queries onto this data set, we want to make sure that we got order ID available. We got state, and then we have category, subcategory, product name, and then we have sales revenue and quantity sold, and then we got profit and COGS. So these are about 9 different columns. We wanted to make sure that these are available. And remember, as I mentioned earlier, that my data set is going to be different to yours one because I have made lots of changes into this one. So my answer could be different to yours one. Then at the end, if you look around, then I have created different columns in here, which is the shipping time rate. So not shipping time range. Actually, I have created 3 columns with shipping cost per unit, and we got shipping expenses, and we got the return one as well. Okay, so these 3 columns I have created because we are going to need them at the end at different points during solving the questions. So I'm just going to highlight that just to make sure that this is what I have created for you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to delete the values which we have created. So because I'm going to perform these ones again for you guys, there we go. So this data is absolutely available. So again, I'm just going to repeat. We got order ID, we have got state, we have got category, subcategory, product name, and then we have sales revenue, quantity sold, and then profit, and then COGS. So these are the columns which we have available. Then if you go on to returns, then you can see that there are 2 columns available, which is the return and order ID. So I'm going to put that into the border. So just to make the data organized, and then we have a shipping cost. So if you just highlight both the columns and then you do this one in here. So remember guys, we are having this data available with multiple worksheets. For instance, the first one is the orders, then we have returns, and then we have got shipping cost as well. In terms of staff, we are not using this right now. So, but you can see that there are 2 columns anyway available. So just for the clarity purposes, I'm just going to make the all border as well, and I'm going to highlight, bold the column names as well, the column titles. Here we go. Then we come back onto the orders. Here, what I'm going to do is I am going to perform VLOOKUP into this section, which is the shipping cost per unit. If you look at that one, I'm going to use the VLOOKUP. So guys, if you remember, during the last few weeks, we have been working on VLOOKUPs and COUNTIFs. In VLOOKUPs, what we do is a vertical lookup in which we are going to find the particular value from particular columns. Okay, so when we write VLOOKUP, we got 4 parameters to pass on. Alongside, if you remember the last week's seminar, we discussed about if we have to cross-reference a value from another sheet. So for instance, right now we are in orders, but in orders sheet, we are going to reference with the shipping cost, and we want to reference some values from column B. So you remember that we have spoken about that and also we discussed some questions that we have to use the name of that file, which is in this case, it's the shipping cost with the sign of exclamation. And then we have to reference all the values in here. So if you remember that one, that would be a plus point. But if you do not, then I'm going to do that anyway in front of you guys. So come back into orders. I'm just going to increase the size of screen so we can see that. So we get into the first column, and then the first thing we're going to write is the equal sign. So if you remember, I have always mentioned that when we are doing any formulas in Excel, it always have to start with equal sign. So equal VLOOKUP, and the time you write VLOOKUP, there are 4 parameters you have to perform. So the first parameter we are going to talk about is the state. So if you look at this data, can you find where is your state? Here we go. The state is in column J, and the first value we are going to look for is Kentucky, so which is J2. So J2, we come back in here and we write J2. Once we have written that one, we press comma, and then the second thing is about the table array, which is the second parameter, and the second parameter talks about the file, the sheet, which we are going to cross-reference. So in our case, we are going to talk about the shipping cost. So I'm going to click onto the shipping cost, and then I'm going to highlight both the columns in here because this is all of the data set. So look at that one, because we are going to find the J2 value. J2 value means Kentucky word. The Kentucky word we are going to find it in this file. You go back into orders. So in here, in terms of the orders, it has come from nowhere. So we need to change that to shipping cost. So we have to have shipping space cost, okay, and then apostrophe and colons as well, okay, and then we have written this the columns on the top of the word. Remember, guys, when it's a single word, you do not need to have these columns, but when it is 2 words, 3 words, or 4 words, like a big name of a long name of the worksheet, then you have to use these columns, and then sign of exclamation, and then A1 to B51. We have already highlighted the data, then comma. The third option, the third parameter, is the column index. And in this case, we are going to type 2. Why we are going to type 2 here is because when you go back into your shipping cost, we are going to find the shipping cost per unit. It is in column B, and column B means number 2. If we are talking about column A, then it will be number 1. So anyway, whatever the column we are using for reference. So for instance, if we use column F, so F would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So remember, in this case is 2. So we have used 2 in here. Okay, and then afterwards is the final parameter is about whether we need an exact match or we need an approximate match. We have spoken about this quite a few times in the previous seminars. So I'm going to use false in here because false means exact match. You press enter. Here we go. So we got the shipping cost per unit is 8. I don't know, and there is no information about that it is in pounds or it is in dollars or any other currency, but it is 8. So you get back into that one again, and if you remember that we highlight this formula, the shipping cost A1 to B51, and you press F4, and then you see the dollar signs appears, and when I press once again, this is something which I'm looking for. This is called the absolute referencing, means the values are not going to change, they're going to remain the same, that the formula going to remain the same throughout the data set. So you press enter, the answer is still remain the same, there is not going to be change, and then once I click onto this data, you see the small button at the bottom, you click, drag and drop. So I'm going to drag and drop. Just to save the time, I'm just keeping it until 523. You have to go until the end of this file, but just in case, because I don't want to spend much time on this because there are other important things as well. So this is something like drag and drop activity which you can perform in here. Okay, so this is you have applied the VLOOKUP into this formula, and remember that we have spoken about this is J2. J2 is the state. We're looking for Kentucky, and then shipping cost, and then shipping cost is the name of the worksheet which we are using in here. Then we have the whole data set, which is in the shipping sheet, shipping cost sheet, and then 2 is referencing to that particular column, which is column B, so that is going to be number 2. And the last option is the false or the otherwise, which is we have used the false because false is going to give us the exact match of these, whatever we are going to look into it. So here you go. This is something we have done the first thing out of this data set. Then the second thing which I'm going to do now is add shipping expenses. So if you look at that, I have already created a column called shipping expenses column. You can have a different name, whatever you feel like, but I have created shipping expenses column. Then what we are going to do is now we are going to multiply the quantity sold into the shipping cost per unit cell. So where is the quantity sold cell? Let's look around. Quantity sold cell. Here we go. We got this R. R is quantity sold. So remember, this is R. We go back into this column. As I mentioned earlier, all the formulas start with equal. So write equal again, and then you have to have R2 because R2 is the first value of quantity sold. Multiply with you have Y2 because Y2 is the price of is a shipping cost per unit. So you multiply and that's the answer you get. Once again, you click onto this one and then you see a little dot there, you drag and drop, and I'm going to use a similar number of values as I did for the previous column, which is I think it was 523. So just to save the time, but remember you have to do it for the whole data set. Again, this is just for saving the time. So here you go, guys. So this is one of the first steps which we have used in here where I'm just going to round it up. That in the first thing is we are going to look at the data. In the data set, we need to find out that we have got orders, we have got returns, and we have got shipping cost. Once everything is ready, then we come back into orders. In orders, we are going to look into order ID, state, category, subcategory, product name, and then we have sales revenue, quantity sold, and then profit. And then we have COGS. So this is your actual data set provided, but obviously I have changed a lot of values in there, so your answer would be different. Then we have I have created 3 columns by myself, which is the shipping cost per unit and then shipping expenses column. And then we have, instead of shipping column, we can just write shipping expenses, but you can write anywhere whatever you want. And then the final column is returned. So these are the 3 values. And then when we look into this, we have used a formula for VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP has got 4 parameters. The first one is the value which you are going to search for, from which sheet we have mentioned the second parameter, from which column. If it is column B, then it's number 2, and then false. And false mean is that we are going to have an exact matching. Okay, and then once we have done that one, we can actually drag and drop till the end of the file. So this is a bit of an explanation on the first part of this. Then we are going to apply the pivot table onto this data set. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to have Control A. So I have highlighted all the data, right? And actually, I do not want to have the last data, which is the what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this, right? Not returned one. Well, I can actually remove returned one for a while, so we can recreate it. But at the minute, we are going to have Control A. Once you have Control A, you go back into your insert. In insert, you can find the pivot table. You can click, and then you find from table range. That's the first option. You click onto that one. This window appears, and in this window, what we are going to do here now is that we are going to click on New Worksheet and then press OK, and here we go. So this is something, a new worksheet has appeared. This worksheet, I'm going to give this name as, we're going to give this name COGS by category and subcategory. So this is just my name given because this is how I tend to remember that what sort of things I'm going to perform on this sheet. So I just save this name as cogs by category and subcategory. Then what we are going to do is we are going to transfer the name of the not the names, the columns into the rows or the values. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to use category and subcategory into the rows here. So let's find out where is category and subcategory. Here we go. So category is here. So you drag and drop in rows, and then you got subcategory. You drag and drop here again into subcategories. So category and subcategory stays into the rows. Then we have quantity sold and sales revenue. Quantity sold, sales revenue into the values. Quantity sold, sales revenue. Drag and drop in here. And alongside that, we are going to have COGS and profits value as well. So where are the COGS? COGS. COGS should be the third one. But if we look at this file, it is the second one here. So we have to go into COGS, click onto that one, and then move to end. So now this is the right place. And then profit should be at the last one in here. Sorry. Profit should be the last one in here. So we go back into that one. Here we go, sum of profit, and then we move that to the end. So here we go. This is the exact shape we are looking for to have for this first pivot table. So this pivot table has been created. Now we are going to create another pivot table. Okay, so we are going to have the same data set again. You have to have Control A, then you go back into your insert, you create pivot table, again, same steps, and then you have new worksheet, you click onto that one. Here we go. So we have created another pivot table. So this is just me again. I wanted to put up the name for this one as key products. So I'm writing key products. By COGS, by COGS. Okay, so I have created another pivot table, but what sort of values we are looking into it? So here we go. So for instance, what we need to do is category, subcategory, and product name this time. Category, subcategory. Let's go there. Category should be in rows, subcategory should be in rows as well, and then product name should be in rows as well. Again, we need to be careful that the product name should be, sorry, let me go back. Product name should be the third one, so I will move till the end. Here we go. This is something has appeared on the screen. And then the next thing is that we need to add values of subsection subcategories. So we are going to have a quantity sold and sales revenue. Quantity sold as a value, and then we have sales revenue as a value in here as well. So and then we have COGS and profit. So we'll find out where is the COGS should be the third one in here, but if it is not the third one, which is a very likely chances, so we need to go till the end, and then we have the profit. Profit should be the last one now. So you go back into your profit, click, and then move to the end. So if you look at that one, now it has appeared as this data set. Fantastic. So I'm just going to decrease the size so we know what we have done in here. So we have created two pivot tables in here. Okay, so similarly, we are going to create another pivot table. So again, you press Control A, you go into your insert, and then you go into pivot table. From table range, you click onto that one again, new worksheet, similar data set, and then here we go. Fantastic. We have created now the third pivot table. The third pivot table, I wanted to give the name as shipping cost per state. So I'm going to write shipping cost per state. Okay, this is the third one. Now, again, you can have your own names as you prefer, but for me, I wanted to have this name in here. Okay, so what sort of values need to go into rows and what values need to go into the values section? So what I'm going to do here now is that I am going to have state. Where is the state here now? So let's find out. City, we got city, state. State should go into the rows. And once we have got that one, then the values of quantity sold, shipping expenses, quantity sold, quantity sold, and we have shipping expenses. Shipping expenses probably is not the correct one, because if you remember that we have done only for 523 records. But okay, let's try that one. But in your case, it would be different anyway. So we have shipping expenses. Here we go. That should be the second one in there. If you see the values, some of the values are missing because the data is incomplete. But in your case, when you have got the data for all the cells, should be fine. And the third column we're looking for is the sum of sales revenue. So let's see, where is the sales revenue? We have sales revenue here. Should be the third one now. So we got to go for sales revenue, should be the last one. And so here we go. This is the third one we have created. Okay, and similarly, you are going to create other pivot tables as well, which I'm not going to discuss in here in this video, but it's just for your explanation purposes that you have created all these. And then what you're going to do is, for instance, in this particular file, I'm just going to do that. So if you look at this data set, or you get into the product one, per state, you can highlight this data. And when you highlight this data, you can have insert, you can go into recommended chart, and then you look at that one in here and then press OK. So here you go. This is the chart you have created. So similarly, you can create other charts as well for other pivot tables we have created. I hope this is very much explanatory about the steps involved, but remember, this is not a complete tutorial or a guideline for your completing your question number 2, but this covers a lot of sections, quite a few sections of your second question. So I hope that this video is helpful. But if you guys got any questions, so please bring those questions for me during the seminar sessions. So thank you very much and have a lovely time ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.